Hello. In this video, it's a follow-on from the previous video where I talked about creating my first smart tree. I'm going to show you the process by which you can commit that tree to a repository that you can share with others, uploaded on, in this instance, a GitLab site. So in the previous video, I demonstrated how you create your first smart tree using first principles. And what I'm going to show in this video is the next logical step in terms of committing that tree to your libraries. So if you look at the libraries on the left here, and I'm right now in my SMARTree templates folder or master folder, you'll see that there's a new item that I saved in the previous video. It's called My First Smart Tree. Here's a little preview of it, and here it is in the editor. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to add that to my index, and I'm going to commit that and push it to my GitLab site. So before I go into that, I just want to show you a simple schematic of this whole process. So working directory is basically where I am right now. And if you look at the libraries option tab, you'll see down here a little status of the state of my library. And it's showing me that I have an untracked file. And what I need to do is I need to add that file to what's called a staging area. And the staging area is really prepping the files that you've added to then commit. And once you commit, you then have a unique timestamp essentially of all of these new trees, in this case just one tree, into your local repository. And then that file is then protected and saved, and in fact it's not just the file, it's the entire state of all those files are saved in a commit. The last step I'll show you is I can actually then push this information to a remote repository, in this case a GitLab site. And so I will walk you through each of these steps. And since Git is kind of integrated into the software, these steps right here are shown up here. So we have an add button, we have a commit button, and we have a push button. And so these are these operations right here. So right now I have, as I said, one tree that I've added in the previous video called My First Smart Tree, and it is not added. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to go to the first step. I'm going to add that file to my staging area. So if I click on the add button, what happens is you get a little window pops up and it says, oh look, we have one file here and I would like to add that. If you had many files, you can pick and choose which files you want. You don't necessarily have to add them all. Maybe there's some files you're still working on. But if I'm ready to commit this file, I can hit the add button, and what it does now, you will see the information here updated. It also scans that file to see if there's any information beyond just the content that could be used by other users or other trees. So now you'll see it's the color of that item has now become green. And so that means that file has been added. And if I go back to my libraries tab, you'll see right here you have a new file ready to go. So I'm now going to go through the next step, which is the committal process. So to commit the file, you simply hit the commit button, and you can actually name this, and you do need to name it something, an identifier of what it is you're doing. So I'm going to call this adding my first smart tree to I'll just leave it like that. Adding my first smart tree. So once I do that and hit the commit button, I have then added that. It scans the data again to make sure everything's in place. And now it says everything is nothing to commit, everything's in there, and you're good to go. So, and you'll see right here now, my first smart tree is it's now black. It means it's committed. It's now part of that repo, and all is well. Now it says here your branch is ahead of GitLab by one commit. So what that means is you have added something on your local machine, which means that you are ahead of what's on the server in this case. So I have this GitLab server and it's saying that I'm ahead by one commit, so I want to push. It says here use git push to publish your local commits. So I'm going to do that next. So by clicking on this, it opens up another window, and this window I have a number of different places that I commit to, but in this case I want to commit to this particular commit right here. And these are the SHA handles right here that tell you what is the commit ID. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on this one and I'm going to push. So what that's doing right now is it's going to send my first SMARTree up into the cloud essentially. And so once I'm done with that, I am finished. So now if I go to my website and have a look around in here, and I'll just pull that up right here. So if I go back to my GitLab site, this is my GitLab site, and it actually not only does it add the file, but it in the commit right here, it lets me know what folder I put it in. It says adding my first SMARTree, and I can click in there, and now in there is my first SMARTree, and you can see it's committed. So now that tree now is available for others to access, and that is the process by which you create trees and edit trees and basically push them to the cloud. In subsequent videos, I'll show you how that connection is made to GitLab and how one might pull information from those sites as well. Thank you.